I'd like to welcome you all to our February 20th Commissioners meeting. Chuck's going to be here via Zoom. Morning, Chuck. And there are Title VI forms on the back table if you'd care to fill one of those out and turn it in to the auditor's office afterwards. I'd like to ask everyone to stand and ask Dana to lead us in the pledge, followed by a prayer. Thank you. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'd like to ask Reuben Kissel to lead us in prayer, please.
Father in heaven, we thank you for this morning. Lord, we thank you for these elected officials that are willing to serve and do your business. Lord, we thank you for your midst here this morning. Father, we pray that your will be done, not our stubborn will that we always have. But Lord, we praise you and honor you and give you all the glory. In Jesus' name, amen.
Thank you. We start at 8 o'clock. Thank you.
I'm sorry.
We're all emailed the minutes. Are there any questions or corrections, additions?
I didn't see anything.
Chuck, do you have anything? Chuck is muted, I think.
Yeah. Chuck, can you hear us?
Debbie's in. Yep, he's in.
You hear us yet, Chuck? No.
I think he's having some signal issues there. I'd move to approve the minutes from the last meeting.
No, concur. Any questions on the claims?
I didn't have any. I'd move to approve.
I'll second that. I don't have a payroll in front of me.
I'll grab it, sorry.
We'll come back and get that in a minute. Todd Houck, you're up.
Well, from last meeting, we're still working on bridge maintenance, doing some line of sight clearing as well. I know I did get a call in regards to the bridge down there by Hidden Paradise. Somebody from the town called that was concerned about the stumps that were sticking up, and also the guardrail that got damaged down there. We've got some patching we need to do on that bridge deck, so when we close that, we'll repair the guardrail as well. As far as any of the brush that is getting left beside these bridges, our plan is to go back with our bushwhacker and mulch that up. And if we have to use a skid loader with a mulching attachment, we'll do that as well. But right now, it's too wet to get in there and do anything. We'll continue to do hot box patching. I'm about ready to pull the trigger on the lift that we run for the dirt patcher. Just got that pretty much all cleaned out. It was in that tank for too long. It was the oil, I think it's AMPE oil was bad. So we went out and wasted that on a frontage road down there off 74. Got that all cleaned out. But that's, to me, I see that as a valuable piece of equipment to go around and get some of the holes on the pavement. It's very small, shallow. So we're getting ready to order that. Doing some miscellaneous work in the shop. I got a crew out doing some surveying. We're grading gravel roads next couple days while weather's permitting. Other than that, I don't have anything else. Does anyone have something for me?
I don't, thank you.
I know I had brought up to you earlier the call that I got over the weekend for the condition of the railroad track there on County Road 550. I went back and looked when I drove by it over the weekend. There's a specific number for that crossing. If you just want that, I can forward that over to you along with the contact information that I got from the railroad company.
Please.
All right. Very good. I don't have anything else for you, Todd.
Yeah. Well, if anything, I did call NDOT in regards to that 350 West, see what kind of help I could get with that. So I think that all stirred back to the railroad, because that was a railroad project.
Yeah.
The guy from NDOT still hadn't called me back. Brandy Fishboat from NDOT said she didn't handle that anymore, but she gave me his name and contact. She was wanting to know, was it just a 7-day closure? And I told her, yeah, it was a 7-day closure, but the problem was when they started the project, they closed the whole road, which created the damage in about 6 hours. So I think that's on the signage company that was hired by the railroad, but regardless of railroad project. So I think that's where I'm gonna have to end up, see if I can get repairs,
Okay.
funding from them.
That it? Thanks. We'll back up and catch this payroll. Payroll's February 17th. Motion to,
I'd move to
Move to
approve.
accept.
here we got him.
I'd second.
I'll approve. Pass that down to Janet. Also have a transfer. There was a bill paid out of the wrong fund to Geis Contracting. It's for $1,144. It was taken out of the jail pod fund. It needs to be taken out of court services. Is that correct, Janet?
Correct.
So we need to approve doing that.
I'd move to approve that transfer.
Second.
Concur. Now, Krista,
Got nothing for you today, gentlemen.
Kenny. Kenny's not here. Is he on vacation?
Well, I don't know. So you can see I was
Holiday,
like-
maybe Kenny's observing the holiday.
Right, maybe.
Abby Harry.
I just wanted to go over our annual report that I'm gonna submit to DOC, at the end of the month. We have to do this every year, that we receive grant funds. So our average home detention caseload at any point in time for court services was 60.1, and that's anyone with an ankle monitor on. So that's juvenile, community transition program, pre-trial, and then your felony and misdemeanor regular home detention clients. Over the 2020 year, we had 85 people successfully complete, and we had 24 unsuccessfully complete. So honestly, we're pretty happy with those numbers.
So when you say 60.1, is that a daily average for the year?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. That's a daily average, and then that's split between myself and then 2 other case managers. And then the successful versus unsuccessful is for the year. Day reporting, we had an average of 2.75 people on per day. And we didn't have anybody successfully complete. We had 1 person unsuccessfully complete that program. As far as field visits, went last year, we completed 1,367 home visits. That is just our generic ones. That doesn't count the times we got called out or that we went out randomly. Those are just our standard contact standards that we did. So in reality, there was more. We administered 1,021 PBTs and drug screens. Out of those PBTs and drug screens, 929 were negative and only 92 were positive. So for a year, I'm gonna call that a pretty good year. And then community service work, we had an average of 59.08 felony people assigned to community service work last year and 69.42 misdemeanors assigned to community service work last year, which is pretty normal. We don't run a work crew anymore. That stopped a couple years back. So those community service work numbers are pretty normal.
That it?
Yep.
Well, thanks for coming in and
Yeah, thanks for having me.
catching us up. Any questions for Abby?
How many do you have in community corrections total?
Right now,
Yeah.
trying to think, I've got to submit my snapshot next week. I think we're sitting about 60 right now.
Okay.
And
So-
that's everybody on house, or everybody on an ankle monitor.
Cool.
Yep.
Chuck?
No, I'm good.
All right.
Thank you.
Patricia?
I'm gonna refer to Steve
You don't like
Shamo for
talking?
microvote,
Nice hand
and
up.
he's gonna explain what we're needing.
So I'm Steve Sham with Microvote. I've been working with your county for quite some time, early 2000s, since you bought the voting system. You currently have around 64 voting machines down in the cage. In the past year, the Secretary of State's office has decided to make certain that by the general election of 2024, that every voting machine has a paper trail device associated with it. So what they did, they've already supplemented some of them to the counties, up about 20% of your equipment that are in place now and are being used, kind of phased in over the next few elections. But the big leap is that the Secretary of State's office went forward and purchased new booths and VVPATs for the county to accommodate. So it's a fully funded grant, but with it comes some complications. And the complications are basically storage and transportation. I brought one of the booths with me in the back here, and after I present, I'll set it up out in the hallway so you guys can, as you're leaving, I won't slow the meeting down, you can come down and take a look at it and see what's about with it. But essentially for storage, each footprint, if it's standing up like a soldier like that, takes 2 square feet. And so basically you'll need, at an absolute minimum, about 130 square feet to pack them in tight. But that doesn't really facilitate the handling of them and the programming and everything associated with it. So usually the recommendation I give counties is if we have 2 to 2.5 times that in terms of storage, then that gives the ability to store, maneuver, and program. Now the programming doesn't necessarily have to take place in the cage. Currently, we pulled everything out of the cage and we do it in that open area outside there. I don't know the actual measurements and dynamics of the cage itself. I've been in there a bunch, but I don't know the size. So in reality, just for a base storage, you would probably want at least 200 square feet to be able to get things in and out comfortably. But you notice by the size of it, we are in the basement, so we'll still be utilizing the elevator and take that up. Now, the unit itself now, when you combine all the elements, so the Secretary of State's buying you the VVPAT device in the booth. There's a new panel that's available, but I'm not giving you any sales pitch today. But your old equipment that you currently have will come out of your old booth and fit into this one. The booth facilitates both devices. We'll come in when the county tells us they're ready. It probably won't be until the end of this year or even the start of next year, spring of next year, in terms of bringing the booths in. They're slow rolling into us, usually about 200-300 every month or so. And so that'll put us in a comfortable schedule to make certain we accommodate the 2024 general election in time. The other element is almost become more of an election board issue and commission issue combined, and somewhat council too if it requires additional funding for the transportation of the booths. So you can see it's now a 50-pound booth rather than 2 separate units. Before we were like 45 with 2 devices, now it's in 1. So throwing it in the back of someone's car isn't really an option anymore. If you have, every county comes up with their own unique plan. Some are using, 2 or 3 teams in a van to distribute equipment, sealed after, programmed and then sealed and then left on site. Others are supplementing certain poll workers, a little bit additional money if they have a vehicle that will accommodate the location and get the stuff out. The dynamics change a little bit, and I think that'll be a future meeting with the clerk's office and the election board to sit down and really figure out how we're going to do that. And hopefully it doesn't lend to any additional costs. So But really, that's about it. It'll be a plan that will unroll over the course of the next year, so there's not like an immediate crisis to get the cage realigned and everything else. But it's definitely gonna change things quite a bit. But the upside is I've been involved in the last 3 weeks with VSTOP, which is the state's voting system technology oversight panel. And they've been performing audits on voting equipment around the state. And we did 5 of them this election. They do 12 every election. So what you'll see as we'll move forward, and we can do this with the election board also, is show the auditability of the system post-election. And once you see the auditability between the electronic machine, which always carries some concern, because it's almost, people don't see where their vote goes, but the auditability with the paper trail device is the highest level of auditability that you can have. So basically what we do is we take all the electronic records individually stored in the voting machine. We're able to retrieve an individual record and then retrieve the paper trail record with an air gap between the two and compare them. And what it does over the course of a short period of time and examination proves that everybody's electronic vote was tabulated 100% correctly based on the paper trail left behind. It's pretty cool. It's really slick. And it raises for the people that want to know, want to hear it, it raises the confidence level in the voting system up to the highest available level, on the market. So there'll be some changes and some presentations we'll do as the year goes with the board and get the election board up to snuff with that so they can start spreading the word to people that trust them, not me coming in from the outside.
So does every county in Indiana use this exact same system?
56 of the 92.
So is it's up to the county then to?
Yes. Counties decide what voting system that they do. The state supplemented all of our counties to get up to par. So we have counties as small as Tipton that have 23 machines, and we have counties the size of Lake County that has 1,300 machines that we put out on election day. So it covers a pretty big spectrum.
Is storing them as they're standing now the best way, or is it?
I think so. The shelving works okay, but you get to the point where
It's too heavy to pick up.
High, and it's bottom heavy.
Okay.
The weight's on the bottom, so on the shelf, you're bringing it out. I just find it to be the best way. It's easy to handle with 2 people, get it up.
Yeah.
It becomes, I won't say light, but very manageable.
Yeah.
One person throwing it around, I have found I'm a little too small for it.
Yeah,
I have the wingspan to get, to the end on it.
When I was down there, what was that, 3 weeks ago, I think, there's lots of vertical space, but if it's 50 pounds, that's going to be tough to get up into the air for a shelf.
We're finding more people putting, because it doesn't stand too high, it's basically 1 by 2 by 42 inches. So at the 50-inch mark or so is a good shelving level to move some of the other equipment up, above it along the wall, so we can, not waste that space. Get a little of vertical storage back.
And you said 64?
Yeah, 64, I believe. So right in that range. I think you put out, I think you will leave me 4 or 5 back on election day.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but it's been, so it's an interesting project and a transition, but with it comes, more additional time in programming, preparation, transportation, and I wish I had a magic wand to answer that question every county, but every county's dynamic is so different in terms of whether their vote center precinct and that sort of storage.
Chuck, any questions?
Yep, I'm good.
Anything else?
I don't have anything.
Okay.
I'll take it out and set it up in the hallway, and when you guys are walking out, feel free to.
Yeah,
Do
thanks.
some curls with it.
Yeah. All right, thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Okay, Janet?
Okay, so we, our office and the 40 office are in the process of switching from ISETs, which is our child support system, to a brand new system called Invest, and we've been working on it, they've been working on it for literally years, and we've been doing major trainings monthly to get prepared for this for at least the past year. They have postponed it due to some difficulties they had at the beginning. So like they're doing this each counties in stages, like they're doing 3 separate rollouts. We're in rollout 2. We have a major training to get ready for it. We go live in May. So we have a major 3-day training in April that the entire office is required to do. And it's 3 full days. And there's 2 separate weeks that we can do that, but the first week that's an option is also the first day that we start absentee voting. So they also advise, honestly, as difficult as this training is, to try to close your office if possible. And I know like the first set of trainings, everybody in the office was not required to do, but 4D was, they had to close a week already. And then they also are gonna have to be doing this training in April, but they are a separate week from us because they're 4D. Prosecutor's different week than the clerk. But, you know, I discussed this with Patty, and the best option for us is to try to close Tuesday, April 18th through Thursday, April 20th. And I did clarify with the state that every person in the office is required to do this, and they said yes. And I have a whole list if you would like to see, like, of all the trainings we've been doing, all the details on this, but it is extremely detailed. And it kind of puts a burden on us to try to split the office, because it leaves us very, very shorthanded, and that's if nobody gets sick those 2 weeks. And also with absentee, that's something that, you know, we're gonna have to be overseeing as well. That's not an option, that's, you know, a given, we have to take care of that as well.
So how do you do voting during those 3 days that you're going to training?
So those would be, she has that set up where that would just be
Travel board.
the travel board only for those days.
We won't be open in the courthouse for absentee voting those
And we're
3 days.
able to do that only because it's a city election.
Yeah.
It's not gonna be as busy, so we can kind of break that up a little bit. So that will be overseen that way. We will still be available to the courts, so if they need anything, cases filed, we can still do that. And we'll still work our queues. There's an hour before the training that we can do that. We can try to do it over a lunch hour, but otherwise it's that full day.
So you're actually in there doing this training in your office via?
So if, it depends, because it's gonna be via Zoom, but they're like, you need to be able to concentrate, you cannot really be
Sure.
interrupted, because there's exercises you have to do and all things. So we're kind of like, that's up in the air as to whether, if we have to split, there's no way the girls can do the training in the office and still have office going on. That would be impossible. So we're not really sure about that. Like, that's something we could work at home and do it from home, and have the option to have, you know, and still work our queues. Because we can still work at home and do everything that they need. And we can also, we have a phone app from, you know, now that we have the tech center, they have the phone app on our phone where we can still get our voicemails from our phone, from home as well.
How are you planning on letting people know in the community that you're going to be closed for those couple of days?
So since it's so far ahead, we can still advertise it, newspaper, radio, and any way, you know, if, you know, however HR can post that now as well, to let people know ahead that we would be closed those days. And we still, just as well as we would, like, when absentee voting is gonna be, the same way we put all that out on dates and times. So that's our best option for us, after we've consulted with the state, and how, you know, we've already talked to 40 Office as well to see how detailed this training is gonna be. And it is putting a burden on us, it's bad timing.
Yeah.
But we don't have an option. So we're trying to kind of just do the best we have, what we have to work with. But we didn't want to do that without discussing it with you guys, so.
Chuck, any comments?
I'm good.
I think as long as you get it advertised, and you keep pumping it out there, I'm okay with it.
Sure.
I just want to make sure that we let people know that you're going to be closed, that voting's not going to happen on those days. And
Absolutely.
I mean, I think it's probably better to do it all in one fell swoop than break you guys up and do 2 separate sessions.
Yeah, unfortunately, we agree.
Yeah.
So we're good.
Yep.
Thank you.
Now, I got a letter here from you, Janet, about Decatur County records.
Yes.
You want to talk about that, or?
So I am new to that. I'm just getting into that, but I just sent the letter out. The meeting is March 10th, I believe it's 9 o'clock, for the records retention. So anyone that has any records that need to be destroyed need to have those forms filled out and into me a few days before that meeting.
Okay, and that's March 10th at 9 a.m.?
Yes.
I'm assuming you'll be in here? Is that meeting held in here?
Circuit court.
Okay. Okay. That's all we need to do is announce that, correct, Janet?
Correct.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Before we go any further, I have a passed over request for use of facilities from Joanne Cunningham for the annual Strawberry Festival. I think we had it last month, but the insurance certificate wasn't here, but it is here now, so need to approve that.
Yeah, I think all we were waiting on was the insurance last time. I'd go ahead and move to approve the use of
I'll
facilities.
second that.
Thank you. Postage machine. Who can tell me about that?
That would be me. We currently have the postage machine through Pinnacle Mailing Products, and the 3-year contract is up, and they're asking to renew it. I emailed the information to you, and it is at $15 less a month for the renewal if we do it before July.
Sounds like a good deal. So
And
the machine stays the same, or is it
It will
replaced?
be a new machine,
Okay.
just updated a little bit more than current one.
Okay. So the rate for the machine is the same, but the $15 a month less?
Correct.
Okay.
Hey, Janet, we have started using a certificate of mailing, and I don't think it's on the current machine.
Okay.
Can you just see if it is on the new one, or?
I will ask Joe.
Okay. I mean, we've found ways around it, but it would be a lot easier if it was.
Right.
So we need a motion on that?
Please.
I'd make the motion to renew the contract for the postage machine.
I'll second that.
And I will concur. Next is Teresa.
Well, the pool has been a topic of the discussion for well over a year or more likely. We met here early in 2022 to discuss the possibilities for the recreation area out there and the use of the ready funds possibly for what each department, whether it be fairgrounds or the park or the pool or the complex, what we would have liked to have seen if we were included in the ready funds. One of the things that I stated was that the pool was going to have to be renovated at the very least, and most likely, once we got into that, we would have to really weigh out the cost to renovate or even replace the pool. The other two things that were important to our department was additional restrooms at the complex and also upgrades to parking out there to see what we can do to blacktop the second parking lot and maybe even add some additional spaces. But as far as the pool goes, when we had that meeting, Deanna Burkhart and Brian Robbins were representing Ready on, and working with me. It was recommended that we possibly go out and see some other pools, see what they had done as far as renovating and or replacing their pools. So we started with Greenfield, who was able to renovate their pool. Their concrete was still in good enough shape that they were able to use the main pool and then add some additional things. So they were able to renovate. They shared with us the design company that they worked with and also that they worked with Spear Corporation, but that's a company we've worked Spear with for years. So We went out and also went on tours of about 4 other pools, gathered some information, saw some things that are new and exciting for today, put together a pool proposal, which was and is very, very expensive. We know that. But we knew that with the ready funds that we had allotted, plus the ARPA funds that they voted to approve recently, that we had a base to get started on. But that's still a work in progress. That's nothing that's going to be a quick fix or a quick decision by any means. I mean, there's deadlines for the ready funds to allocate, but we are here today, and I brought Jody Bittinger. He's our maintenance man at the pool, but he's also now a certified pool operator. We had him certified last year to have added to that, to his resume. He oversees the daily mechanical operation of the pool. He was instrumental in the emergency patching that we had to do last year when we had huge 12-foot sections of the pool liner that just sunk into the pool right before the opening. The pool liner was purchased in 2008, put in 2009. It has a 10-year lifespan. He agrees, I mean, after patching it last year, that we just don't see how it's going to make it another year. So at the very least, a new pool liner, I did get a quote on that, is, and removing the liner that we have is close to $129,000. It can't be put in, or it's not recommended to be put in without comprehensive testing of the pool. And that includes perimeter gutters, main drains, pool supplies, and return piping, just as a starting point. If there's problems in any of those, then they don't recommend or, want to put a pool liner in on top of that, because it will affect the life of the liner. So basically, in discussions, and I've had no formal discussion with the council, but it was stated by a few of the council members that they didn't really feel that it was in good faith to put good money into bad money and continue to put money into the pool as it now stands. I don't know if you recall that at the meeting, but like I said, it wasn't a formal discussion. There was no, votes taken or anything. It's just discussion. So basically, I am here today to ask you, as the owners of the property, how you want us to try to proceed in 2023. We can't really get a liner in 2023 because they want to put them in the fall now, because they are easier to handle when it's warmer. When they're cold, the liner, and that huge liner is, I can't even imagine how it would be to handle that piece. But it's $11,000 for them to come and take the liner out. I don't know if that's a point that we want to consider starting with, because if we pull that liner out, we may have some answers right away as to what we can expect going forward. My maintenance staff has concerns with the concrete condition in the 12-foot section. They feel like it feels like they're walking on gravel underneath there, so that they do feel there is some concrete issues. So I'm just basically here for some formal decision as to how you thought we might want to proceed, or what you might want us to do for 23. I do want to let my staff know, my pool staff know that their jobs they know they're in limbo. They've heard discussions, but I want to give them ample time to, and I think they can find other employment. But, lifeguarding wise, it's going to be tough to get them all working somewhere.
You'd said that they wouldn't look at doing any of the new liners unless there were certain things like new gutters or sufficient gutters and other
Right.
piping, things like
the
that.
quote that I just got from them, and it's Natari Corporation, which is actually the company that put the current liner in, and they were able to give me just a bid off of that, measurements and everything that they put it in 2009. It just says, prior to installation of the lining, comprehensive inspection and pressure testing program should be completed for the perimeter gutters, main drains, pool supplies, return piping, and any other penetrations of the pool structure. Such inspection and related work is not included in the proposal, but can be provided. And
So that's on top of the
Right, it
$129,000.
would be on top of that. Something similar, like Madison is now getting not a brand new pool, they're renovating their pool, but they were going to put in a new liner. It was part of their Stellar, they were one of the Stellar groups. Well, when they pulled the liner, the concrete was in such their pool's even older than ours, and ours was built in 1959 and 60. So our pool has served our community well, but it just can't last forever. But anyway, when they pulled their liner, it became apparent that they had to do a total renovation. But they're renovating their pool. I mean, they're using the same, they've got like anyway, it doesn't matter, but they're getting a new renovated pool. They will not be open until 24, I think, at least.
So aside from the liner issues, the potential 12-foot section of concrete that could just be crushed concrete, how's the rest of the pool function?
It has issues with leaks. That's why we also know there's other structural issues going on. Some of the foundation is being washed out by those said leaks. And then we also have some major issues with the slide itself. So that would be another area that we would have to look at. And obviously to gain access to any of the plumbing for the gutters or anything like that, we would have to tear up all the pool deck. So all the concrete structure that exists now would have to be taken up on the top of the pool. We know that there is a gravel substance underneath the bottom in the deep end. Whether it is from the gravel that is on the bottom or whether it is just from the sides that has begun to erode and then made its way down there, we're not certain of that. But we're dealing with plumbing that is, obviously installed in 1960. So,
What was the problem with the slide?
Well, the slide was installed or purchased in 1987, so that it's an aging issue mostly. I mean, we deal with constant water leaks, and we keep not patching it, but sealing the joints and putting on new coatings and things of that nature. But even the structure of the slide itself is aging. I mean, it's a metal structure. They do different kinds of steps now. They do wider steps, not quite as steep as ours are. We have some slips and falls, it goes with the territory, but the newer ones, obviously, they've come a long way since 1987. When we put that in, excuse me, we were one of the few places around, and it brought life to that pool. And now it's gonna take something new, exciting, that serves everyone. We right now are lacking in something for the little ones. We don't have an area that's really, and we don't know when we get into this. We've been told that once you do certain renovations, you have to then go back to code and get things going. Right now we're grandfathered on a lot of things, probably. So, but we did hire a leak detection service last spring, filled the pool early. We've never filled the pool in April 1st, but we did last year, and it snowed when the pool was full of snowing. But we had a diver come in and do an inspection of the pool liner, found 12 leaks, marked them, we drained the pool down, we fixed all of those leaks we thought we were in business, and then when we filled it back up, that's when the pool liner fell off the wall. I mean, all the way 3 sides in the deep end, just slid down the wall. So they would put a 2-man bass boat in the pool and float it around, and with the help of Ellerman Roofing, managed to patch it and keep it open for 2022. So we did make it last year. We're just not certain. We do know there's already some little hairs appearing that we didn't patch last year that will probably become issues this year.
In the liner.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's only warranted for 10 years, so really in 2019 would have been 10 years, and it's just outlived its life.
Teresa, pool, I'm assuming lost revenue last year.
The pool always loses revenue. I do have a projected budget in mind. If we were to somehow come into the money to be able to do a new pool, I do believe it could go to a moneymaker. I mean, we would be drawing enough people if we could put something that would be a regional draw back in there. I think we could turn it around, but right now, yes, it loses money. It's more of a service to the community than anything.
Joe, do you think you have the forces, and this just me talking, to get that old liner out to make
Yes, I do.
some other looks and inspections? Or
I believe I could take enough of it. We could cut it into small enough to, like, since we wouldn't be worried about preserving any.
Right.
I could cut it into small enough pieces that I could manage to get it out there, yes.
Their bid is $11,000, and it says it takes 4 to 5 days, depending on how much of it is adhered still to the pool and how much of it comes up rather easily. And we know sections are gonna come up easy, but that deep end, it's heavy. I mean, you know,
It's tons.
we were thinking how we could pull it back up last year, and there's just no way. I mean, we couldn't, my staff couldn't do it.
Well, I mean, we're assuming it's shot anyway, so.
Yeah, the liner itself definitely is not in good shape.
What's your recommendation with everything that you know as far as the condition of it?
My recommendation?
Yep.
Well, my desire would be to put in somehow, some way, or be cool. I mean,
Yep.
I just don't know, I'm not, I don't have the knowledge to say, you know, whether it can really be renovated or turned around. I don't know that much about it, but we haven't really brought in anybody to talk about the renovation and how much we would be talking, but it'd still be a substantial amount of money to update and renovate what we have. And we still would have a pool with nothing for toddlers or, you know, we have to change that. We have a baby pool, but it's just a pool of water. It's not what people want today. And people are leaving our community, going to Shelbyville, or, I mean, they just are. I mean, I went there, I made 2 trips myself last year just to see what the hype was all about. And they offer more for the whole family than what we do.
And what's your recommendation then about this year, given everything that you've gone through? What do you think?
As it stands right now, I don't see it would be in the best interest to try to keep it up.
Yep.
So, because we do know there's water leaks. We run a garden hose all day, every day, all through the season to keep water in the pool. So.
Yes.
We are still good.
Yes, and there is other water that leaks out that I am able to capture, and that I have a pump that runs back in 24/7 that catches water that is leaked out.
Wow.
And then we still run
But you have to also
anywhere
remember
from 7,000 to 10,000 gallons a day that leak that I do not capture.
that we have to treat that water. All that water that's being added is requiring more chemicals to maintain. So I don't really think it's feasible. I mean, we try to do it. At some point, we have to make a decision.
Yeah,
So I think we're at
I hate doing it, but I don't think it's responsible to keep going down the same
I just think it's time
path
to
at
look
this point.
into the actual what we're going to do or how we're going to proceed.
Chuck, have you been able to hear most of this?
Yes,
Any thoughts?
well, I don't think we need to be put, good money after that. I'd say we just, leave it closed and see how the ready plays out.
Is that your motion?
Yes, that'll be my motion.
Thank you.
Oh, I'd second.
And I would concur. The pool will be closed this year until further investigation on what we're going to do next.
And you'll offer that, I mean, are you just talking about more renovation costs that I need to be looking into? or-
I'm not going to step into that puddle
That pool?
right now. I can't swim, so it doesn't value, I don't have any value out there, so.
Part of it doesn't have any water in it, you can say.
But I think there needs to be a lot more investigation before we decide where we're going, but I just can't see opening it this year. I think that's what we've made that decision, so.
Okay, thank you.
Another matter that concerns the Park and Rec. Got an estimate from AccuLevel of Indiana to do some work at the Armory, waterproofing, foundation work, floor leveling. Their part of their bid is $48,300. That would include closing off the ramp door in the north end, putting some pump in, drainage in, a new, what's the word? Egress window and well on the Lincoln Street side for an extra escape route is included in that number, $48,300. They're going to also bury tile from all the downspouts to the creek to get the water away from the building, the outside water. Of all the other bids that I've gotten, this is the most reasonable that I think we can afford, and they did work here in the basement, and every time it rains I go down there and I can't find a drop of water in the basement at the courthouse, so I think they're reputable. Looking for a motion to get them guys to work.
Do you recall what the other bids were, Mark?
One was from Bruns Gutzweiler, was a lot more work. It was $250,000. And another company from Columbus was in the 180 range. But like I said, Bruns's was doing some outside work on the brick joints. And
Mark, are they talking about that closing the back off? If I can talk about because it would reduce the flooding into the basement? Is that
yes, water entry.
And what about the water that will come in the boiler door or the side by the parking lot? Anything there?
That will be taken, they think will be remedied by the sump pump. Unless if there's an extreme flood, there's nothing going to keep it out. But
So you're talking about just general, not like the big floods?
There are 2 permanent sump pumps that are in there now that we do run all the time. I don't know what they were talking about.
this drain, it runs through the middle is non-functional. He said it's probably letting water come in the building instead of exiting the building, the drain that came in there now. And the drain that's in the ramp wall, or down the ramp, there's a drain there, and it goes through the building. That will be eliminated. I think it's worth a try to save the building.
And there's still the one issue with the sewer smell we talked about. That's nothing to do with this bid, I assume.
That's a ventilation issue. And I believe that comes from vents. Your plumbing vents are not properly open. They're getting backdraft.
We have talked to guys about coming and checking into some things, so that's one of the issues, but,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah, does that bid include that floor that he replaced, or?
That area, yeah, is included in that, getting that leveled.
So that was already taken care of, that portion.
Thoughts?
Which fund are we taking the money out of?
What did we talk about?
The rescue cap,
Yeah.
or you could do, I mean, you have rainy day and edit, that's another option.
I mean, if we don't fix it, the building's gonna fall apart. I like 48,000 better than I like 180 and $250,000, so if we're gonna fix it, I'd rather go with AccuLevel. Chuck, you have any ideas?
I would agree with you. I don't think it's worth $250,000, but if we can fix it for $50,000, it's worth it.
I'd make the motion then to go ahead and pursue getting the armory fixed with the AccuLevel bid.
I'll second that.
And I would concur. Thanks, guys. Patty, you want to speak about the recruiting policy?
Okay, since I have been here, I have learned about the processes involved in hiring people for the county, and I found that there's a lot of different ways, and departments do things differently, not really consistent. So I think for the public, it would be helpful and the best interest if we had everything done the same. and made more awareness of our openings within the county. So I have drafted a recruitment policy, and I gave you a copy of that I would like to put into place. I will read it, it's not too long. When a replacement position or new position is to be filled, each department head or elected official shall notify Human Resources and the Commissioners in writing before starting the hiring process. The Commissioners will determine if the position is in accordance with appropriations passed by the County Council. Whenever vacancies occur or new positions are created, job postings will be publicly posted internally and on the Decatur County website for 7 calendar days, as well as bulletin boards in the county buildings. Newspaper and website advertising may also be used in recruiting employees. Applications and/or resumes will be routed by HR to the hiring manager of each department, and the interview selection process will be completed. The manager will extend a conditional offer of employment pending the candidate passing any required examinations and a pre-employment drug test. Background checks may be completed on all new employees. All applications shall be returned to the Human Resources Manager prior to hiring. Part-time or seasonal employees will also follow the same policy and will need to complete an application annually, as well as a pre-employment drug test. All newly hired employees will attend a new employee orientation conducted by Human Resources. This will normally be conducted on the employee's first day of work, which is typically a Monday. To ensure that a new hire can be entered into the county's payroll system, all new employees will arrive at the new employee orientation with a new hire data sheet that has been completed by the hiring department. In the event of a resignation, the department head or elected official shall forward the letter of resignation to HR so that the termination process can begin. Department head elected official needs to email HR and Commissioners to obtain approval before the hiring process is initiated. Now, I do have an asterisk up here as far as, I know that not all departments are the same. And as far as for safety reasons and that, the Sheriff's Department may be exempt from the whole process of approval if it's critical. Okay, so we want safety first, so that would be the exemption on that. I would hope that you would follow it, but like I said, I understand sometimes you're short-staffed and you gotta get someone right away, so you move. I have also drafted an application. Again, we'd like everybody to use the same application with the exception Sheriff's Department, yours is a lot more detailed, so you would continue to use your same application. But everyone else, we would have one application to follow. So it's a 3-page application, does capture a lot more information. And these, I intend to have these out on a drive where everyone can access them. Applications and resumes. I've got an email set up separately that will come just to HR so that those can be routed in and routed out. Questions? Yes.
Will the county be doing a Facebook page or no?
There's been some discussion about that.
Yep. That's one of the things that I want to see as far as the Commissioners is to get a Facebook page up and running so that, like with certain things, last meeting we talked about making sure that we had all of the agenda topics in by noon on a Thursday. That's one of the things I'd like to get out there. Like that, having a Facebook page like that would be a perfect platform, as well as even advertising new openings. Yes.
We have like, sometimes, we could put out for information on voter, without having to have our own Facebook page.
Yep.
So if that was an option or not.
Yep. It's something that I hope we can get going. Yep.
I have a question. So you advertise, you see the resumes first and route them to us?
Yes. Yes.
Why can't it be to you and copy us at the same time?
Again, the idea is that there's one central place. And again, so that it's, everybody has the same, the same access. Right now, I'm just gonna be honest with you, we hear a lot in the community about people don't get a chance and they don't get a shot at jobs because you have to know someone. So this way, they would all come to me. I would route by whichever department and route them out to you. I'm not doing your hiring process, but I'm just managing it.
So you would know before us who submitted resumes?
Yes, I would.
I don't like that.
What do you think of Janet?
If and I have advertised in the past, and I got 28 resumes. People ask me if I got the resume. Well, now they're not gonna be able to ask me because I won't know until you get them. And then that communication between their questions to me, you're gonna get.
But it's done by email, which is
That's why it has to be
pretty
copied.
quick, so.
So your thoughts, Patty, would that be, if you got an application this morning at 8 o'clock when you got in your office, when would that be forwarded to?
I mean, I would say within an hour.
Okay.
Yeah.
So on the days you're on vacation, if it happens to coincide with that, is there somebody that's gonna take that, take over your?
I could probably set up somebody as a backup for those days.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So it's not like she's gonna be holding them for,
She's not gonna hold them that first 7 days or the
No.
first 14
No.
and then turn them in and get them immediately.
Sure.
I think whatever exemption you're providing the sheriff's department, dispatch needs as well, because we use a lot more in-depth background check, application, probably mirrors their hiring process.
So the sheriff's department?
Dispatch.
Okay.
We're two different departments.
Okay. We could probably do that.
since I've been president of the commissioners, on 2 occasions I've been contacted by equal opportunity attorneys questioning our hiring practices, and that's one of the reasons we set up this HR position, and I think this is one way to be sure that everybody's getting equal opportunity to be hired in the county. Not just because we know so-and-so, or we want to level the playing field. The department heads still have the opportunity to hire who they wish. We're not taking that away from them. We are making sure everyone has the same opportunity to put their name in the hat.
Well, I think I know for the county, I know I really it's word of mouth. You know, somebody, I've got kind of 4 or 5 spots I need to fill. This last time, I had one of my employees do a post on Facebook, okay? In that 7-day span, I got more applications in 7 days than I'd had since I initially interned with Mark in September. Okay, so I really think validation of Facebook, the social media, that's where you're going to get all the younger generation, okay, maybe not the older generation, but the younger generation, that's going to, I think, open the door up for anybody that's looking for a career working for the county. So I like the advertisement on social media because it definitely helped the highway department. But I didn't want one of my guys to have to be the administrator of that. Same thing with road closure. I know that they're working on that code red for information for the county. I think that would be very helpful where people can get online and sign up for what they want. But social media posting, I think is great because it's, you know, it hits one phone and next thing you know, it's on 400 phones. That's my opinion.
Mark, I'd like to add that the chamber also has the job postings tab on the website, so any business who is a member of the chamber is able to post job. We currently have probably 20 to 22 job postings for the communities on our website that can be utilized by our members. County clerk's office is a member, and so if they would have a job posting, they would have the ability and do have the ability to go in on the back end and post those onto our website. As well as if they post to their own Facebook page, we will share that from a job posting standpoint. We will not share an individual's Facebook page, but if it is a business or an organization, we will share that for you guys as well. So just for future reference and to think about as you move forward.
Bobby, how are you today?
Right there.
Any other comments from offices?
I like the continuity. So if there's some tweaks that need to come down after we implement it, and if we find something that just doesn't work, we can address it later. But I'm very appreciative of Patty picking up the ball here and running with this. So I think we should adopt it. Chuck, anything else?
No, I would agree. The only thing I would add is where you said that they will do background checks, you must complete a background check.
Shall.
So I'd move to adopt as well.
With that change, I'd second.
And I will concur. It goes into effect immediately.
Now, Patty, on that application, does it have anything on there to acknowledge that they're gonna have a background check done? Okay.
Thank you for your work on it, Patty.
You're welcome.
I also have an application for payment to forward to the TIF board redevelopment for the highway department's payment application number 5. This month is $1,275,000, $1,275,045.53. That'll be picked up by TIF for the highway department's February payment.
I'd move to approve.
Second.
Thank you. Brad Spear.
I gave you guys a quote from Strand, put together the project for the EMA cold storage building. TIF has agreed to pay for the $21,500, so we can put together we're gonna look at 2 locations as well as different building types. I'm working with Steve from Strand. They've agreed to pay for it, but since I work for you guys, I was thinking to get it approved to you guys. Chuck, I emailed that to you this morning. It's in your email.
All right, I'll check it.
So it's just for the very preliminary study, see what we have in both locations.
The advantages, disadvantages of both, and building type. Right now, there's pretty good variation between steel building and coal barn and everything else, so.
Yep.
So is this, your early thoughts would include your office being in this?
No.
It's just storage? Okay. Chuck, you okay with this?
Yeah, I'm good.
I'd go ahead and move to approve.
Second.
And I would concur. Topics, we have contract renewal for Piney Engineering. Do you have any paperwork on that?
I don't have anything, I mean, I have what
Renew at current,
the current one.
okay. I thought when we did that last year, it was a 2-year contract.
That's the current one, but, he just asked, I think it says it automatically renews within 30 days or something to that effect. So he didn't, Dave Walker did not send a one that said 2023.
Current contract is $10,250. Each quarter, that's an annual amount. Each quarter is $2,562.50. So that's preventive maintenance and filters, changes, and
For HVAC?
yeah, in the courthouse.
If this is this something that we need to have open, Chad, or not on this?
I would say not, since we've already approved a contract that auto renews.
Okay.
Technically don't need to take any formal action.
Right.
You just continue on.
Okay.
So you're not taking any action. Technically, you've already entered into that contract.
Is there anything you need then, if it's not
Just
a
your
renewal?
approval to let Dave know, you know.
He's still on the
fines
clock.
rolling it over, or-
Yeah. Yep.
Tell him he's still on the clock.
Will do.
Have I missed anything?
I didn't see anything on there. I know last time, the only thing I had, just a carryover, was I had asked to do an executive session on the issue for the annex with all of the Verigy proposals that are involving the annex now. Danny, have you guys had a chance to talk about any dates or anything for an executive session to discuss some of the Verigy improvements out of the annex, or not?
I guess it would be best if we met with you guys after one of your meetings. Would be easiest for you.
And I,
On the fair, you say?
No, on the annex, the Washington School Building,
Oh, okay, yeah.
uh,
Yeah, we could.
repairs, renovations, whatever we're deciding.
one of your other county council people had actually contacted me and said, hey, let's just all get into the same room and see if this is something that we even think is viable. It's something that we could even get behind in a conceptual level. And I think that Rick Anderson from the company wanted to come and just give a presentation about it instead of just piecemealing things between different bodies.
If you want us to set something up next week sometime.
Okay.
Well,
We have to have enough time
Week's
to,
notice on advertising.
we have to have enough time to advertise it.
I think, what is it, Janet, a week?
Yes,
We can
7
get by,
days.
I mean, one of you coming tomorrow, and let's set something up.
Okay.
As long as you might be there, Jeremy, that's
Yep.
fine with me.
Sounds good.
It's okay,
All right. Thanks, Danny.
no problem.
Anything else? We have a Board of Finance meeting, but we'll recess this meeting before the Board of Finance. Motion to recess.